Hi everyone, this is Michelle from House of Shaves Barbershop, and today I'm going to show you how to do a comb-over haircut on thick hair without cutting into the cowlick. This can be a tricky haircut, especially for beginners, and I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks on how to make sure this does not stick up for you when you're cutting it. Stick around to the end and I'll give you some tips and pointers on how to style it. Anybody who's cut somebody's hair who has a cowlick has had that uh-oh moment. That uh-oh moment is a point of no return. Once you've cut that cowlick too short, it's going to stick up and there's no turning back. The only way to avoid that is to not cut it too short to begin with. For this haircut, I will be fading down. Fading down is when you start with a larger guard and make your way down to a smaller guard. Fading up would be when you start with the shortest guard and move it to the highest guard. I am fading down to ensure that I am not going too high with this number 4 guard and cutting into the area that I have to be extremely careful with. Using this number 4 guard all the way open, I am feeding the hair through the comb and through the guard, and that will create a little bit of an easier transition. After the number 4 guard, I'm going to take my number 2 and bring it close to, but not all the way up to where the number 4 was. As I'm using the number 2, I am using a scooping motion or a flicking motion so that I don't cut too far into where the 4 was. I'll next be using a number 1 guard and using that same flicking or scooping motion. I am not bringing it all the way up to where the number 2 was so that it is a seamless fade. This client's hair is fading well. If I had saw a line in between, I would have gone back with my number 3 to bump out that line. Make sure you guys like this video and let us know in the comments what haircut you would like to see us do next. Young adults tend to have a slight dip in the back of their neck. Having them lean forward or tilt their head from their chin to their chest will help smooth out the back of their neck and help you get into that crevice a little bit easier. I'm cutting the other side now and still being cautious as to not bring that 1 guard too high up. As I am blending the top to the sides, I'm going to do a couple different techniques. The first one is going to be clipper over comb. Clipper over comb is great to blend the hair, especially thick hair. It is best done with the hair is completely dry. Although it can be slightly intimidating for people who are new to cutting hair, if you just take a little bit at a time and make sure that your comb is at a slight angle, then you will do fine. It is okay to do it numerous times, and practice makes perfect. As I am coming near the cowlick area, I'm being especially careful to not cut off too much. If anything doesn't look blended after the clipper over comb, I can blend it slightly with these thinning or texture shears, or go back and point cut it slightly. Again, all of this hair is dry, so I will see exactly what it looks like, and there's going to be no surprises with it being wet and then dry. When using the texture shears, I am only using them towards the end of the hair. I am not using it at the top. That will create breakage and a lot of frizz later on. I'm going back and slightly bumping out any lines I see and adjusting anything that the texture shears didn't do as well. Point cutting is a good way of getting in there and bumping out anything that you see that's not blended without taking a whole lot off. After the fade is done, I will be working on blending the top and the sides. Getting the hair completely wet, especially since he has such thick hair, I'm going to trim the top. As I'm cutting the top, I'm making sure to not cut too far back on his head. If I were to take a large amount off the back of his head, it would affect the cowlick that is already perfectly blended. This client likes the top of his hair a little bit longer, so I'm being sure to not go too short with it. It has been a few months since his last haircut, so I did take a few inches, but I'm just making sure that there's enough to swoop over and that he can still have that long look at the top. After I'm done with the top, I'm going to completely dry the hair again. This is very important. After it is dry, I'm going to bring it down and trim anything that's not blended or any lines that I see. A little bit of clipper over comb, a little bit of point cutting, and then again bringing out the texture shears if I need to adjust any kind of little lines I see or any part that doesn't look blended to me. The next step would be to detail around the ears and the neckline. We have another video on our channel that goes into a little bit more detail on how to line up around the neckline and the ears. But for today's video, the key points for young children is to be very cautious with your pressure. Take your time, be slow with it, and don't create an entire new line around the ears. Just clean up any spare hairs. Having the client look down again will ensure that the line towards the bottom of the neck is a little bit more even. So now the haircut is done, I'm going to be styling it. Because this young man has thick hair and he likes a slicked over look, then pomade is perfect for him. If your client had a little bit thinner hair or wants more of a natural looking style, then I would go with a cream or a paste instead. Apply a decent amount of product and really work it in. Get the shape going first, and you can always apply some water or spray some water in it later if you wanted it to be a little bit more smooth looking. So there you have it, a young man's comb-over haircut. The cowlick is staying down. He can run around the playground and not have to worry about looking like alfalfa afterwards. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. We're going to have a lot more content coming out and videos coming up for you. Thank you very much.